I want to start by pushing back against my colleagues on the other side. It's interesting to me. I've only been in Congress for 3 years now, but they clearly created this catastrophe. We warned about it in the last Congress, why the southern border was wide open and many of our visa programs were being completely exploited. Now you have 15 million people in the country. That's a figure they won't even argue with. And now the American people elected President Trump and this administration to go and solve the problem. And now, so they've turned on ICE, whose job is to get the criminals and these people out of the country. And so they've turned on ICE. We even have a member on this panel, again, who assaulted an ICE agent. And we wonder why this stuff continues to happen. And I didn't hear any of them talking about the deportations that took place under President Obama, who I believe was deporting even more people than President Trump has in his first year. Next, I want to turn to what this committee is actually about. And I want to start with CISA. Dr. Gouda McCullough, under the Biden administration, censorship, deplatforming, and flagging speech of Americans they didn't like was very common and often reported. They censored American citizens who were posting about election integrity. They were also deplatforming anybody who talked about COVID-19 and its origins. Correct me if I'm wrong, doctor, but I thought CISA was for protecting American infrastructure and cybersecurity. Is that correct? Why do you think CISA started, going after Americans for exercising free speech?
Congressman, thank you for the question. You're absolutely right. Election security is focused on infrastructure. And CISA's election security role is focused exclusively on defending the election infrastructure from cyber threats and physical threats and foreign adversaries. And that includes any voter registration systems, election technology, and supporting systems, not speech or content moderation. And precisely why I keep saying is that what changed was the scope, not the security. We ended activities that were outside its core mission and not election protections. Those activities that ended involved monitoring any American's lawful speech and narrative management. And you rightly said, sir, coordination with social media companies on election-related posts. Those activities are not operational election security issues.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I got to cut you off. I got more questions. I want to turn to Ms. McNeil with TSA. On July 8th, TSA ended its shoes off policy, which was obviously in place because we had, incidents like the shoe bomber that tried to bring a bomb in his shoe on board an airplane. Why was that policy ended, Ms. McNeil?
Thank you for the question, Congressman Crane. At TSA, we're continually looking at the risk environment that we operate within and improving our standard operating procedures and operations at the checkpoint to reflect that risk picture. There had been multiple risk assessments done in past years that allowed us to make that change and amend our procedures to maintain the safety of the skies while delivering for the American public. Continual improvement is something that TSA embraces. And
Ms. McNeil, real quick, do you think with technology adapting, it's impossible for somebody to make a bomb out of their shoes?
The way that we approach security is to deploy multiple different layers of security and pieces of technology to ensure that nobody can essentially game the system. We have multiple layers from identity and vetting through all of these physical screening that happens at the checkpoint and then in-flight security as well. So through that layered security approach is how we deliver for the American public, and that's something that has been in place since the inception of TSA.
Thank you. I want to turn to some of the Somali cash going through airports. It's estimated that $700 million in cash in passenger luggage was leaving the Minnesota airport in the last 2 years. Has TSA made any changes to its policies to prevent this activity that is tied to the fraud in Minnesota from continuing on?
We are extremely proud of the team at TSA for highlighting this issue by reporting what they saw in the normal course of their screening in Minnesota.
But reporting's not enough, right? It continued to go on, and we got $700 million in cash. Has anything been changed? That's the question I asked you.
We are working with our interagency partners and law enforcement partners to ensure that this issue is being addressed. We continue being a good partner to them. The money that was moved through legal means, and so this is where I think Congress has a role to play to think about the authorities around this bulk cash movement.